Welcome to the Black Presence, Activism and Agency in a Different Age. I'm Kay Hall and this is Natalie McGuire, and we're going to share a little bit of our curatorial journey which resulted in this exhibition. For us it was quite the exciting journey. I remember when these artworks actually first came to the museum, Natalie, I was horribly excited, because usually when you see pictures of Black persons, especially those originating from the time of enslavement, you get slave dances, you get enslaved people working in the fields, but this gave us a window to a whole new way of looking at Black people that I had not been exposed to myself previously, and which I really was excited about sharing with the Barbadian public. We had people who were kings, who were queens, who were entrepreneurs, who were historians, but basically people of prominence and people who were pretty much in charge of their own destiny from that time. Natalie, you want to share a little bit more about how we went about putting together the exhibition?
Sure. So Father Charles Card Reynolds, as he would have explained in his videos and his interviews, had a very particular premise for his collection, which, as Kay alluded to, was to fill these gaps in Black portraiture in the 18th to 20th century. And one idea that he had was to share it not only with his community and parishioners in the UK, but also with the Caribbean, particularly Barbados, of which he has close connections to. And so he came to us with this collection, and the kind of questions and themes that were arising out of these works made us begin to question our own fine art collection here at the Barbados Museum. And so we began to draw these connections and began to have conversations with Father Charles as well as the artistic community to really gather kind of what are the themes and what really are the investigations that we're looking at through this exhibition.
And one of the things we wanted to do, which was involvement of the art community, is very much based on a model which we've been using at the museum for the past year or two, which we call the co-curation of practice. And essentially this means that we want our various communities to be involved with the way how we developed our exhibitions. We want the exhibitions to be relevant to them, but we also want the exhibitions to represent the many voices of our history. We want them to be multivocal. We want them to be encompassing of all those different perspectives. In the case of this particular exhibition, we did a preview for the artistic community and for certain persons who are interested in Black history just before the exhibition was launched. And we basically asked them for feedback, and this basically impacted on the exhibition in two different ways. Firstly, we took on board some of their suggestions. As a matter of fact, we pulled the whole thing down and put it back up again, taking on board a suggestion from William Cummings, an artist and a designer in our community, but also a number of them recorded videos for us, giving us feedback on the exhibition and basically linking it to their craft today and also their perspective on the artistic gaze and on the way how art history has been represented to them. And this is not an entirely new model for the museum. Co-curation of practice is something that we've been dealing with for some time now. Natalie has done it in one or two other exhibitions leading up to this point. So.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the notion of a community of curatorial practice in terms of Caribbean exhibition making originated in 2015 with a project, Transoceanic Visual Exchange. And as Kay said, it's really informed the way in which the museum has aimed to decolonize and broaden the ways in which we engage with our communities for exhibition making here. With regards to the artist voices in the Black Presence, Activism and Agency in a Different Age, what you see as a visitor is the responses, as Kay said, to the themes, but also how some of these images impact their own work and their own life. So as you go around the exhibition, you can read the kind of curatorial framework and the themes that we presented as an institution at the Barbados Museum, but you also then hear voices from the artistic community in their responses and their engagements with the works. So you have a kind of layered experience. And of course, we have our visitor board, in which you're welcome to share your own experiences and thoughts on the exhibition and the theme, as well as our selfie spot with the New York Barber, where you can post on social media your ideas and thoughts about, you know, how we can just broaden the narrative of Black portraiture in the 18th to 20th century, particularly from a Caribbean perspective.
And in addition to that, of course, we've got our art history mysteries, which is a number of the a number of the artworks in our collection feature works that we're not entirely certain who painted them, or we have some questions about the subject matter. And through our social media, as well as engagement in the museum, we've been asking people to sort of give us their own perspectives on how they think the artwork is being represented. It's not just open to art historians or regular historians. It's basically, we want feedback from everyone, from school kids, from adults passing through, from people who are just visiting the museum, people who are just generally interested in history and art. But the idea is that when we bring our collaborative ideas together, it will help us to solve some of the mysteries surrounding some of these artworks. And this is not the only thing in which we've requested input. We also are inviting people to make suggestions of how they want to see the stories of Barbados told. This is just one aspect of that, but we have another project called Our Stories, Our Museum, where we're inviting the Barbadian public to tell us the type of stories that represent our history that they would like to see represented in our museum. So for example, if you have a suggestion for that, you can write us at info@barbnews.org.bb. But thank you so much for joining with us today. And please come down and take a look at the Black Presence, activism and agency in a different age at the Barbados Museum. It's up for the next few months. Don't let COVID and diseases turn you away. We want to see you, and the exhibition is worth the trip. And of course, all COVID protocols are implemented.